It is Wednesday, my dudes, and time for an old man yapping. It won't be Wednesday by the time you see this. It's like 2 minutes to midnight. Kill the unborn in their womb. Anyway, do a little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. I have not been writing any code this week because, oh God, I've been power washing the patio, which is a tremendous amount of work, which is why it's fairly late. I collapsed into bed around 2 in the afternoon after working from 7 in the morning, just constantly, and I'm gonna have to do that again tomorrow. So yeah. Anyway, the state of the game as it currently stands is really good. And when I say it's really good, I mean it's actually playable. I've got the time limit set down to. Is everything saved? Everything is saved. Okay. I've got the time limit set down to 3 minutes for a level, and with 3 minutes, it's not that long or difficult to actually go through and play a game. So you've got chests that you can break and you can collect, and you can see down at the bottom in the output window it says player pickup. I just collected 50 gold. And that doesn't really do a whole lot for you, I'm sure. Ah! I took some damage. I'm dead. Yeah, that's one of the things is, that's interesting. Why are they collecting negative experience? What's going on there? Oh, I know what's going on. That's a weird bug. Okay, so here's what's going on there. That is fascinating. So what's going on here is that inside of the Groper code, whenever they do damage, is it inside the Groper code? There's the Groper taking damage. I think it's, yeah, it's when the player takes damage. So when the player takes damage, the, where's it go? If enemy not equal null, that's the test right there. If enemy not equal null, if okay, what's the name of my health variable? Player health. Duh. If player health is greater than 0 and the enemy does not equal null, and it should really be an is valid check. It doesn't matter. That should fix that. I'm going to come back over here and rebuild. So let's rebuild. Anyway, what was going on there was that every time the enemy damages the player, the enemy collects experience. Now, and this relates to one of the 3 problems that you're going to have in any game when you get to this state. And I'm going to talk about those in a moment. But first of all, let's go through an actual full game. You can see here that I could shoot the chests, which are the Gato icon, because every Gato developer is required by law to make something with the Gato icon during development. Now I'm going to try to collect all 4 of these chests before I go worrying about the gropers. Now, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to turn on my strafe so I can walk around the other side and do a whole bunch of damage and take a bunch of them out. Now, you'll notice that one doesn't want to go down. And the reason it doesn't want to go down is that it's got a substantial amount of experience it's picked up, and apparently somebody else picked it up. The groper just picked up 10 experience from that guy. Ah, shit. And because the gropers can pick up experience, they can get tougher. They can steal the experience from you. And because they can steal the experience, they get tougher and you don't. And that is an interesting mechanic. And that makes things kind of iffy. Notice this guy keeps grabbing the experience before I do. And because he grabs the experience before I do, I don't get the experience. Instead, he gets the experience and he gets tougher. And when you think about how this works, if I just kind of circle around for a bit and let a few of these guys collect, because of the way these guys are arranged, if I turn around and shoot some of them, they're going to collect the experience before I get it. We're down to the last few seconds here. And it's printing the total enemy spawn over and over again, which it should not be doing. So back to our output. The condition path is empty is true. Okay, there's something wrong with my debugger config. But yeah, let's scroll up here. We've got the so it's printing that over and over again, and that is in the playfield. If player visible is false, game over is true. If let's put it on the game over label. When we make the game over label visible, we'll put that there. Seconds equals 0, screen timer text equals, if seconds is less than 0, seconds equals 0, screen timer text equals victory. Total enemy spawn equals spawn count. Seconds is less than 0. We'll put that right over that, and we'll make seconds is less than 0. If seconds is less than 0, then I do this, but I don't need to set seconds equal to 0 there. Yeah, that's the problem. If seconds less than or equal to 0, that's a common failure. Okay. Let's run through this again while I talk about some of the issues that I've previously mentioned. All right. So stop the game, and we'll hit play. And first of all, let's check and see whether let's check and see whether I can be killed. All right. Why did I get half an experience? Huh, that's weird. Okay, total enemy spawn was 9. Okay, so that doesn't infinitely loop there. Let's whack restart, and let's actually go through our 3 minutes. Okay, I've collected all of the gold. Now I just keep walking off to the side. I wonder if 3 minutes is enough to lap the entire playing field. Let's give that a shot. Let's see if that happens. It should work. How much time do we need? It is enough time to lap the entire playing field. Now, if I head back the other direction, I should find all of the experience. Okay, so one of the dangers that you have working with a game that gets to this state where it's actually playable and it's actually fun and it's actually something of a challenge is that you'll get attached to the way that it looks and the way that it feels and the way that it plays, and you won't add all of the stuff that you're supposed to add to it. You've still got work to do, like a lot of work to do. There's no UI on this. There's no level select screen. There's no main menu. There's no attract loop of any sort. It's not even saving the game in any meaningful fashion. And that needs to be added in because that's fairly important. In addition, there is what I call bit rot, and bit rot is a fairly common term, but a lot of people prefer to call it technical debt. I call it bit rot. As you're in the process of developing your game, you're going to take shortcuts. You're going to have ideas, and you're going to implement them, and the implementation is going to work, but it's going to be in the wrong place. It's not going to be the best kind of implementation. There are going to be a lot of issues with it. You're going to have lots of dirty little hacks and whatnot. And all of those dirty little hacks add up. And those dirty little hacks form something that that eventually needs to be fixed. And here we are in the last couple of seconds. And our total enemy spawn is still scrolling up the screen infinitely. Why is that? Seconds is less than or equal to 0. else if it's greater than 0, okay. So we force that false. Okay, I will test that again later. At the moment, let's... This is a great example. I'm trying to write the minimum possible code to fix the bug. And writing the minimum possible code to fix the bug is going to fix the bug, but it's going to produce a bit of an issue. Because you'll have all of this bullshit code that's shoved in here for no good reason except to make stuff work. And you need to go back in and you need to remove that and you need to fix it. So that eventually needs to be done. The other thing that you run into, I mean, like I said, you know, you've got the situation where you get attached to the game the way it is when there's still a lot of work to be done, and then you've got bit rot, and the third thing is scope creep. You'll have cool ideas. You'll look at your game and you'll go, oh my God, I could add this thing. And yeah, you could. And it wouldn't take that long. You're right in the code where it would need to happen anyway. You may as well just go ahead and add it. Well, if you do go ahead and add it, then you're just creating more bit rot for your game. And creating more bit rot for your game is not doing it any favors. So, so when you get into the process, I've started another game. You don't necessarily need to watch this. I'm just checking to see whether I actually, because I'm fixated, because I'm trying to like find out whether I fixed the problem. The game has actually become fun. Is kind of the big issue with it. So you start wanting to make it better because you're playing the game and the game is fun. You're like, ooh, you know what would be really great? And this is why you need to have a design document. You need to have a design document so it says, this is what is in the game. And when you go, this would be really great. You do not add it to the game. You add it to the design document. And then later you go over the design document and you go, well, that doesn't actually need to happen. We don't need that in the game. I'm going to gather up a little horde here. But that's one of the things that a design document is for. You add your ideas to it, and then you look at them in the cold, harsh light of reality and go, yeah, we don't need that. That's not something we need in the game. It's kind of like having a new baby. You have a new baby, you want to show everybody your new baby because your baby's gorgeous and you love them. And it's not anybody else's baby, so they're like, yeah, whatever. And it's hard for new parents to understand that nobody really wants to look at your baby. Except other parents. Other parents want to look at your baby. They think your baby's awesome. But people who aren't married and don't have kids, they don't fucking get it. They don't understand this whole show me your baby thing. Like, why? Why do you want to see somebody else's baby? It doesn't make any sense. I've been there. I remember. But man, I loved the time when my kids were babies. It was awesome. And I can remember that. If you show me pictures of your baby, I remember my babies, and I loved my babies. So that's a positive thing for me, and I enjoy it. But, you know, if you're single and you don't have babies, or if you're married and don't have babies, you probably don't get that. You probably go, babies? Who the fuck cares about babies? What good are babies? They're boring and worthless and useless. And it takes a while before you can actually do anything with your babies. But they do eventually get there. All right, we're closing in. We're in the last couple seconds. And the turtle enemy spawn is still scrolling up the screen endlessly. I don't know what's going on here. What the fuck? Why is that happening? Where do we update the main timer? Main timer minus equals delta. There it is. There it is. I see the problem. The problem is that we are updating seconds immediately after updating the main timer, which means seconds is always less than 0 because the main timer is less than 0. So what I want to do is... Okay, I got that fixed. I think. I'll move update main game timer over there, and we're 20 minutes in. Jeez. Okay, let's try this again. I'm gonna let you guys watch. Scope creep is a real problem because you'll end up adding so much shit to your game that you'll never finish it. And also, you'll add stuff to your game that doesn't make it any better. That's not good either. Hey, Groper tried to collect gold. Okay, that's a problem. I need to stop that. I need to do something about the Groper trying to collect gold. It's not supposed to be on the right level for the layer masking is supposed to prevent that. You will find bugs in your game even when you think they should not happen, and they will need to be fixed. You'll need to figure out a way to fix them. So the Groper is trying to collect gold, and I need to figure out why that is happening, and I need to do something to prevent it. And whatever I do to prevent it has to also leave the gold for the player to pick up. Or I could just let the Groper pick up the gold and have them drop it when they die. But they shouldn't be... They shouldn't be able to pick up the gold. The gold should not be on a level that they can pick up. Okay, so we're closing in here. We're in the last minute. This isn't that exciting a game, but it is fun. It is fun to play. And another of the dangers, that whole new baby syndrome goes along with scope creep. See, you start to think this game is really cool, and you want to show it to people and go, here, play this, it's really cool. It's not cool enough for other people because they didn't build it. It's like, you love this thing because it's yours. Other people are not going to love the thing as much. It's got to be better. It's got to have more. It's got to be more interesting. As it stands, you show it to people and they're going to go, that's it? And I think that's what happens to a lot of indie games that nobody wants to buy is they put out the game in the that's it stage. Still just scrolling up the screen. Why? Why? If seconds is less than 0, seconds equals 0. Aha. Hold on. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's the problem. No, it's because this is backwards. If main timer is greater than 0, then we update the delta of the timer. If the main timer is greater than 0, main timer equals delta, seconds equals the int main timer, minutes is seconds, all of that. Okay, I think that's it. So, what the fuck? Let's go ahead and run it again. Let's see if this happens. And I'll try to speak coherently while I'm playing the game. The game is cool. I like the game. Stop. If main timer is greater than 0, main timer minus equals delta, else main timer's a float, right? No, it's a double. Okay, save. All right. Let's try this again. Game starting. Okay. All right. Oops. Okay. All right. So, whoa. That was shitty. All right. Anyway, it's like right now the game isn't in a terrible shape. I got this girl running around in her underwear. The name of the game is Filthy Pervert Stole My Panties, so obviously you're in your underwear because they're trying to steal your panties. The guys are in their underwear because they're wearing your panties. It's not that bad a situation, but this is not the way I want the game to look. The game needs to have a more distinctive visual appearance. And to give it that more distinctive visual appearance, I've got to do new artwork, which means I need to draw new sprites for the chests. I can't just have the Gato icon hanging around in there. I need to have a sprite for a pile of gold. I need to have a sprite for a pair of panties, so when they drop experience, it looks like they dropped a pair of panties. And I need to have about 80 sprites for each of the enemy and the player. And I've got to do another 80 sprites every time I do an enemy. I've really got to think about how I'm going to manage this. So I got all of this added work that needs to be done. See, look at this. I got a 0.5. 0.5 on the experience. Why 0.5? How does that happen? I'm going to have to go look at that. That's probably somewhere in the damage functionality. Okay, now I'm just going to run in a circle. Gather a little horde, because I think it's really cool at the end of the level when they all die. Yeah, there we go. And it's still just scrolling right up the screen. And it's such a small thing, it really is. But because it's scrolling right up the screen, that means that there's a lot of other code that's also being executed over and over again and doesn't need to be. If the main timer is greater than 0, else... Oh, okay. If seconds is less than 0. I'm sure a lot of you could see that immediately. You know what? I'm going to come up here and I'm going to change my spawn timer. I'm going to change my spawn timer to, or not my spawn timer, but I'm going to change my main timer to 5 seconds. We're going to start it up. We're going to give it 5 seconds. And now it's not popping up. It's not popping up at all. What's going on here? Main timer minus equals delta. If main timer is greater than 0, main timer minus equals delta. Else it's because seconds isn't updated. You need to pull the seconds update outside. Yeah. Let's give that a shot. Live debugging. Everybody loves this. Didn't I just say a couple of weeks ago that nobody wants to watch you write code? Still not doing it. Seconds equals at main timer. If main timer is greater than 0. Else, if seconds is less than 0. Let's get main timer minus equals delta. We could keep updating main timer. We need to keep updating main timer. We need to know how long it's been since the end of... Okay. Okay. Let's do that. 2, 1, 0. Total enemy spawn is... Well, enemy spawn seconds equals 0. Screen timer text. Seconds equals main timer. Huh. Let's set a breakpoint. This may or may not be interesting to people. You don't have to hang around for this. Like, comment, subscribe, do the little YouTube dance, all of that shit. Build.net project. Let's go. 2, 1, 0. And the breakpoint doesn't hit. Why doesn't the breakpoint hit? Else, I mean, I don't have my debugger configured correctly. That's what's going on here. This is too much to solve during a video. I need to jump into the middle of this and figure out what's going on. Turtle enemy spawn 1. Anyway, do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. I'm just trying to see how many enemies spawn at the end. It's not even that complex. It's not even that important. I could turn it off and I'd never notice. But that's not good. So yeah, I'm gonna bail on this. Well, I'm gonna go work on trying to fix this. Okay, bye.